Buenas noches, damas, caballeros y invitados de honor, y bienvenidos a la conmemoración del centenario de Realtor Association of the Fox Valley y la celebración de la juramentación de los oficiales ejecutivos y la junta directiva. Les agradezco profundamente del fondo de mi corazón que hayan tomado de su tiempo valioso para estar aquí compartiendo con nosotros esta noche. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and honored guests, and welcome to the commemoration of the Realtor Association of the Fox Valley Centennial Anniversary and the celebration of the installation of the executive officers and the board of directors. I am profoundly grateful to you from the bottom of my heart for taking some of your precious time to be here sharing this moment with us tonight. Now, let me take a quick break from the script for a moment and thank some key people in my family, in my life, that I forgot to mention in my zealousness to draft up my speech. So I'd like to start by thanking my beautiful, loving, and long-suffering wife, who has to take care of our 6-year-old when I'm not home and deal with all the things at home that are not being taken care of while I'm attending to association business. Our son, Augusto, who misses daddy on occasion when he's not at baseball practice or home to tuck him in. I'd also like to thank my law partner, Judd Lofshe. He and our assistant, Linda Neppel, hold the fort down when I'm off again at association business and keeps our law practice going. And I'd also like to thank Mark Simpson for his personal ask again. Without that invitation and his prodding, I would not be standing here today. So, that being said, I'd like to take a moment to personally thank all of the members of the 100th Anniversary Task Force and RAFV staff for their creativity, hard work, and persistence in planning and coordinating this event tonight. They adapted and overcame every obstacle that was thrown at them by man and force of nature, and they did a spectacular job at it too. How about a round of applause for all of them? Looking at the list of past presidents on the back of the program, and taking a look at the history on our history table tonight, I am truly humbled and honored to be standing before you right now to accept the position of President of the Realtor Association of the Fox Valley. As you saw from the video that was played earlier, our association has a long and fairly convoluted history. Kudos to Christine for explaining it so succinctly, of dedicated volunteer leadership that together with staff has grown, advanced, and improved the association to where we are today. Speaking of staff, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge Chris, Lisa, Missy, Dan, Diane, and Jesse for all of their hard work and dedication. Without their experience and expertise, none of the grand schemes that we volunteer leaders come up with would ever come to fruition. So if I could please get a round of applause for them. Thank you. Achieving the mission and goals of the association truly is a team effort between volunteer leaders and staff, and it became plainly evident to me watching how RAFV responded to the many curveballs that were thrown at it over the last year and a half, 2 years or so, during the presidencies of my immediate predecessors, Paul Kempa and Lucas Albright. With social justice issues and the global pandemic exploding all over the news, our businesses, and our lives, RAFV responded with sensitivity and information, useful information. Our staff turned the website into a clearinghouse for all information related to stay-at-home orders, essential business status, PPP loans, unemployment insurance availability, and best practices for virtual showings, PPE, and then sanitizing after in-person showings. They pivoted from in-person meetings and events to expertly hosting Zoom meetings and virtual online events. And they did all this while quarantined from their homes. So after all the ups and downs, RAFV not only survived the last year and a half, but it thrived. As Lucas mentioned, membership numbers are up, and participation at committee meetings and association events also increased because technology made it incredibly easy for members to access events at a moment's notice from wherever they happen to be. So how about a round of applause for over 100 years of leadership and service from RAFV's volunteer leaders and staff. The last couple of years have also reinforced for me the proper perspective for those of us involved in leadership at RAFV and any volunteer organization. You see, as you progress up from committee participation to being on the board, to getting on exec, and then finally stumbling your way up to president-elect, people have a way of starting to ask you what you have planned for your year, or what your visions are for your year. And you kind of get used to referring to this as my year. Kind of gets to your head a little bit. But I can assure you that neither Paul or Lucas had the year that they wanted, hoped for, or dreamed of. If it were about their hopes, wishes, and desires, each of them had every right to be disappointed. But there were visions unrealized, and state and national conferences and meetings that just aren't the same virtual as they are in person. But our years aren't about us. They're about you, our members, and measured by the level of service provided to our members, both of their years were great successes. You see, association presidents aren't dictators for a year. We're custodians of the association and its mission, and I count myself lucky to follow a long line of capable and competent custodians who have maintained the association's proper focus. That being said, we're all expected to place our own individual stamp on the association's direction during our year. So as I got more involved and deeper into this leadership process thing, I've been racking my brain for what that unique thing that I can contribute to during my tenure as president. I mean, I'll be the first to admit that I'm not exactly the most obvious choice for president of my local realtor board. I'm a 43-year-old attorney realtor who has only been a realtor for almost 6 years and spends most of his time practicing real estate law rather than listing or selling homes and businesses. However, while I've only been an RAFV member for a few years, I've been working with RAFV members and closing deals with them for about twice as long. Many of them are referral partners that trust me with their clients' hopes, dreams, and legal rights, and some of them have even become friends. So, when I joined RAFV and I started attending all of these events, I started looking around for all the realtors that I know. And I didn't see many of them at any of the events, so I started to invite them to come out to the events, and still, they were all conspicuously absent from any of the RAFV events. On the other hand, I'm also and have been a member of the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. And I've gone to several of their events over the years, usually driving into Chicago for dealing with about an hour or two of traffic to get into their events. And at those events, I'd see loads of my realtor friends and referral partners. At the same time, our newly installed president-elect, Natalie Dismuke, was coming to a similar realization. RAFV has a diverse realtor membership, but that diversity of ages, genders, ethnicities, national origins, etc., was simply not reflected in attendance at events, participation on committees, or membership on the board. So for the last several years, we've been trying to think of ways to attract these members to RAFV events. Why? Well, the answer is in the association's vision and mission statement. Our vision is to keep realtors at the heart of real estate. Our mission statement, serving our members, elevating professionalism, strengthening communities, and advocating for private property rights. It was just recently updated about 3 months ago, but its essence hasn't changed in the last 100 years. To me, it can be summed up as being the voice for realtors. Yeah, I know it's not exactly original. I mean, the voice for real estate has been the slogan of the National Association of Realtors for a few years now. But it's what we're here for. The association is the voice of authority among its realtor members when it comes to licensing, education, professionalism, and ethics. Realtors hold themselves to a higher standard, and they police themselves. It is the unified voice of empowerment, of empathy, encouragement, and empowerment to the communities where the realtors live and which they help to develop through thick and thin. And the association is the powerful voice of experience and expertise to elected officials at the local, state, at local, municipal, and along with IR at the state level, informing them, sharing resources, and advocating on behalf of realtors, their clients, and property rights. Most notably in this last year and a half, realtor advocacy made real estate services an essential business, an essential service to keep realtors working throughout the pandemic, made unemployment insurance available to realtors to whom it has been historically unavailable as independent contractors, pushed for rental assistance, and helped draw the eviction moratorium to an end so that landlords could pay their mortgages while tenants kept their homes. The Realtor Association is our voice. Also, VOICE makes a handy acronym for the type of association we all wish for. V, for a vibrant association full of dynamism, energy, and fresh ideas to better serve its members. O, for an open association that welcomes all members to participate. I, for an inclusive association where all members feel included, heard, and respected. C, for a cross-cultural association, reflecting and celebrating the panoply of cultures and that its membership consists of. And E, for an equitable association in which all of its members in their various communities get their fair share of access, services, and positions of authority. However, in order to be the voice for realtors, the association needs to hear the voice of all of its realtor members. The association can't properly serve all realtors if it's only hearing from about 10 to 20% of its members. Each of us, each of you has your own voice, your own perspective, developed from your environment, education, and experience. For example, I've shared a little bit of my own voice so far, but here's a little more. I'm a proud first-generation, natural-born American descended from Cuban immigrants. My parents and grandparents were grateful to this country, the United States, for the opportunities that they offered to them and their families. But they were simultaneously proud of their homeland, its people, and its culture. They may have emigrated over with only the clothes on their backs, but they were very proud of what they and their children had achieved through faith and persistence and hard work. I was taught Spanish at the same time that I was taught English. I grew up watching my grandmother's novelas and listening to my uncle's boleros on the record player and recite the poetry of Jose Marti. I'd spend Saturday nights watching Hee Haw, The Lawrence Welk Show, Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, and Sábado Gigante with my grandfather. While I personally didn't live in a multi-generational household, I could totally relate to the family from Que Pasa, USA. The grandparents who only spoke Spanish, the kids who wanted to live their life in English, and the parents caught somewhere in the middle who were just responding with whatever version of Spanglish came to be handy at the time. I watched my maternal grandmother struggle to learn English and American history for years to become a naturalized citizen. She never quite got the hang of English, but she did become a citizen, and she proudly exercised her right to vote. We learned to study and work hard, say our prayers, find the music in life, count our blessings, and always help the less fortunate. Their example inspired me to become a lawyer, which to me meant a respected member of the community, knowledgeable about laws and government, who zealously advocated for their clients' rights and interests. That's still how I see what I do each and every day, and I think it can be applied equally to my role as attorney, realtor, or volunteer leader of the Realtor Association of the Fox Valley. And it's this perspective that allowed me to see that the RAFV was missing out on the voices of many of its members. So, with that in mind, as Lucas mentioned, RAFV, in cooperation with NAR, conducted a survey so that our members could tell us how they identify themselves. And then a focus group and some in-depth interviews were handled with our 3 largest minority groups so that they could suggest to us how we could better serve them. The results were discussed at our strategic planning retreat, which again Lucas has referred to, that the executive team, board members, and some committee chairs participated in a few months ago. Those discussions resulted in some changes to our committee structure, as well as committee charges and their assigned purposes. What used to be called our Marketing and Membership Development Committee will now be called our Member Engagement Committee, and its members are charged with identifying and implementing more effective ways to extend that personal invitation to our members to become involved, attend events, participate in all that RAFV has to offer. Additionally, under the umbrella of the Member Engagement Committee, we are also forming a new task force, the Voice Task Force, whose charge it is to recognize and reach out to those portions of our member community that may not feel seen, heard, respected, or who valued, or who think their voices don't matter. This will include building relationships with realtor groups organized around cultural and demographic groups, such as the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, Women's Council of Realtors, the Asian Real Estate Association of America, the LGBTQ+ Real Estate Alliance, and whatever others we find along the way, so we can share ideas, co-promote, and possibly coordinate events that are sincere, authentic, educational, culturally diverse, and culturally sensitive, and inclusive of all RAFV members. The establishment of the Voice Task Force is actually one of the recommendations we heard repeated in several of our interviews with our minority members. The Member Engagement Committee and the Voice Task Force are essentially assigned the same mission. Reach out to our members where they are and invite them in to share how we can best serve them. We are also revamping what was known as our Education Committee and naming it our Professional Development Committee. RAFV does more for professional development than simply provide an avenue for continuing education. We also offer the Foundations in Leadership program, which teaches essential leadership tools to our members so that they can better serve themselves, their communities, and the association. As an alumnus, I can attest you learn and grow a lot throughout the course, and you make lasting bonds with your classmates. Additionally, the latest Illinois real estate law rewrite, like the Real Estate License Act rewrite, I should say, a couple of years ago lowered the minimum licensing age to 18 in Illinois, which once again got Natalie's wheels turning over there. She and Chris have been working on an initiative to introduce real estate as a potential career to high school students and place RAFV at the vanguard of local associations across the nation. It's still in the works, so I won't divulge all the details or much else. Natalie will get to introduce that when it all comes together, but it's all part of expanding the real estate industry and improving the level of professionalism among realtors. RAFV is more than just an MLS gatekeeper and lockbox provider. We offer a plethora of benefits that I invite you to peruse on our website. But to improve, to strengthen our offerings, to better represent our members, we need to hear your voice. Member participation is a problem in just about all volunteer organizations. In 2017, Michael Simpson invited me to join and participate and become a part of Government Affairs Committee. And in 2018, he launched the Say Yes campaign to extend the invitation to all members and show our appreciation for their involvement. For those who accepted the challenge. At that time, we asked you to accept the organization and its plans for you. Tonight, I'm asking you to share your voice with RAFV. To speak for realtors, we must hear from realtors, all realtors, each and every single realtor member. We need your voice to be your voice. Please share your voice with the RAFV. Thank you.